How does Riley feel when she receives a gold heart locket with a picture of her and Adam from the night of the full moon? And how will their relationship progress from here? Want to know how Riley and Adam find love and belonging in the world of werewolves? Subscribe to our channel and miss none of the heart-pounding moments. Chapter 12. We get to the pack house and we walk back to the room. I put my bags on the bed and lay down on the bed. Adam lays down beside me and I put my head in his shoulder. We stay in comfortable silence for a while before Adam speaks. How did it go with Emma? He says. Good, she's not happy that I left, but she understands, I say. He starts running his hand up and down my arm. Who's the dick that punched me? He said, his voice filled with annoyance. That's Ryan, Emma's mate. They've been together for a long time now. I saw and I start thinking about the first time Emma came running at me gossiping about Ryan. I sit up on the bed and I decide to unpack my stuff. I was gonna get up when I heard Adam whimper. What? I look back at him to see him with a sad face. Literally a sad face. He pats on where I was lying just now. I giggle. I have to unpack my stuff. Do you have to do that now? He says, pouting. Yes, I said and chuckled. Unless you want to help me. I say, hoping that he'll say yes. He sits up on the bed and thinks about it. Fine, I'll help my poor princess. I stick my tongue out at him and he gives me a small laugh. I get up and made my way to my bags. Where do I put my clothes? I say while giving him the duffel bag. You can put them in the lower drawers, those are empty. He says while going to the bathroom to put my shampoo and all that in there. I put all my clothes in drawer and when I lean on drawer and I see Adam frozen in his spot. I walk over to him and wrap my arms around his waist. What are you looking at? I say. He turns around and gives me my picture of me and my parents. I grab the picture and stare at it. My nerves took over me and suddenly I forgot to speak. Are they your parents? He asks me in a soft voice. I look at him and back down at the picture and give him a sad smile. Yeah, I say, running my fingers through the frame. I knew I was gonna tell Adam about my past one day. I just didn't expect it to be so soon. What happened? Adam asks. I know he means about the day that his dad asked me about my parents and I had a panic attack. He knows something happened and he's not dumb enough to think that it didn't. I was 5 when my dad left us. It was at my birthday party. Well, it really wasn't a party. It was just me, my mom and dad. They had a heated fight and my mom told me to wait outside. She was crying and I never saw her cry. Later that night he left. He didn't say goodbye or anything, he just packed his bags and left. At that moment I didn't know what was happening, and when I asked my mom she just told me that he was going to be back soon. Suddenly the memories started flooding back to me. Mommy, where did Daddy go? I rubbed my sleepy eyes. Mom wiped away her tears and pulled me into her lap. He'll be back soon, okay baby, she said as she ran her fingers through my hair. I rested my head on her shoulder and I started getting sleepy. Mom started crying silently as I fell asleep. Every day I would wait outside for my dad, waiting for his car to show up or for the sound of doorbell. I would do my homework on the front porch and when I was done I would wait for him. My mom knew what I was doing and I think I was hurting her more than she already was. The fact that I would wait for him somehow broke her heart. Soon she started to get sick. She would have to stay home because she was vomiting all day, or she just didn't have enough energy to get up. At that time I was about 10 years old. It was starting to get dark and still no sign of my dad. At this point I started to think that maybe he wouldn't come back. I pushed those thoughts aside when my mom called me. Honey, come sit down, she said, her voice a bit tired. She patted the spot next to her on the couch and I went and sat next to her, facing her. Honey, there's something I need to talk to you about, she said in a calm voice. What's wrong? I say. I couldn't help but start to panic a bit. Was something happening? Were we moving? Did she talk to Dad? Has she even heard about Dad? As you know, I haven't been feeling well this last couple of weeks. The results came back and it came positive, she said, and her voice cracked a bit. What are you saying? My breathing started to get heavy, and I was pretty sure that the color drained away from my face. I have cancer, Riley. I couldn't hear anything after that. The whole world suddenly stopped and I could only hear the same thing over and over again. I have cancer, Riley. I have cancer, Riley. I have cancer, Riley. My mom was trying to say something to me, but I couldn't bring myself back to my body. It's like I was watching myself being frozen on the spot, looking at my mom as she tried so hard not to cry in front of me. She had treatment for 2 years only. The first few months were great. She felt like she had the energy to get up. She would make some breakfast and she would go on her day as if nothing was happening. But at some point it was like as if someone popped that happy balloon and she got bad. The treatments weren't working anymore. The doctors tried to give her some pills to brighten her day, or to even give her a quarter of her energy so she can at least eat something. Mom, you need to eat something, you can't just not eat. I told her as I tried to give her some soup. Riley, I'm not hungry. Just let me get some sleep, okay? She said, pushing the spoon away from her. It's 12:00 p.m. already. At least eat something even if it's just a little bit. I tried putting the spoon in her mouth but she pushed it away again. I told you I'm not hungry, she said in a weak voice. I put the spoon back in the plate and watched as she fell asleep. My eyes began to water and I put the plate back in the counter. I went to the bathroom and splashed some water on my face. I gave myself a pep talk and I walked out. I went outside into the hallway to get some air. I watched as the nurses would walk into a room, talk to the patients and head out with a clipboard. They would go to the doctor and then the doctor would go inside and talk to the parents of the patient. I went back inside and I heard my mom having trouble breathing. I walked over to her and I was right. I ran out the door and called the nurses and screamed for help. They made me wait outside until they could figure out what was happening. I knew once the doctor walked out that something bad had happened. He told me that the cancer had now spread out throughout her body, and there's nothing that they could do. I walked back inside the room and I couldn't help the tears that streamed silently down my face. They knew that it was best for her, but I didn't know if I was ready to leave her. She's the only family I have left. Don't leave me, please. I couldn't control my sobs anymore. Tears streamed uncontrollably down my face as I held my mom's hand. Riley, she said in a hoarse voice. I'll always love you no matter what, remember that. Promise me that you'll be happy. She took my hand and gave it a weak squeeze. And that's when I heard it, the flat line of the machine. My sobs turned into screams and the nurses came rushing in. I was still holding on to my mom's hand as I saw her spirit leave her lifeless body. I didn't want to let go, not yet. The nurses were trying to calm me down and trying to get me out of the room so that they could do her job. It took them a while before I gave in and I lay on the hospital floor crying my eyes out. And that's when I met Emma. Her mom took me in and we just kind of clicked. I was 12 years when that happened. I started to get adapted to my new life and soon I learned to put the past in the past. Not because I wanted to, but because I had to. At some point we sat down on the balcony while I told Adam about all this. Adam watched me intensely, hearing every word I said, letting me pour my heart out. A few tears escaped, but I quickly wiped them away. He stood up and made me stand up too, and then he pulled me into a hug. The thing about Adam is that in moments like this where no words can be spoken, he does small acts of kindness that put me at peace. That me feel safe and alright. I wrapped my arms tightly around his waist as he wrapped his around my shoulders. I'm so sorry, Riley, he says in a low voice, and I know he means it. He's not just saying sorry about my parents. He's sorry that I've been having to deal with this on my own. He's sorry that this happened to me. We stayed like that for a while, wrapped in each other's arms in silence. Chapter 13. It was daylight and now me and Adam were getting ready for school. I hate Mondays so much. We left in Adam's car and made our way to school. I leaned my head against the window and I couldn't help but start thinking about how me and Adam aren't on the same social level. He's popular and everybody loves him, especially girls. And I was just me, just another girl in the crowd. Was I still gonna meet Emma for lunch? And what about Adam? Is he gonna go his way or stay with me? I was snapped out of my thoughts when Adam squeezed my thigh. What's wrong? He asks. Nothing. I say. Just thinking. I lean my head back against the window and I watch as every second we get closer to school. Unfortunately, we reach school and it was time to enter hell. I look at the window and I see people looking our way, pointing and probably talking to their friends about how I'm in Adam's car. With him. Alone. I started to panic a little bit. I figured Adam noticed because he took my hand in his and I turned to him. Hey, you know nothing's gonna change, right? He says, looking deep into my eyes. You're still mine and nothing that they say or think is gonna change that. If anything happens, you just scream my name and I'll punch whoever needs to be punched. He says, and I give him a small laugh. We both get out of the car. I take my backpack, close the door and take a deep breath. Once again, Adam takes my hand in his and we walk through the front doors. As we're walking down the hall, people turn to us and starting whispering to their friends while looking at us. Adam stops abruptly and he turns to everyone. Is there a problem here? He practically shouts and everyone goes silent. They look at Adam with terror before they turn to their lockers. We reach my locker and he leans against the locker next to mine. I open my locker and start changing my books. Don't you have to change your books? I ask while searching for my English notebook. Nope, on Friday I didn't change for my last 3 classes. He says and I give him a confusing look. Why not? I ask, practically shoving my head inside my locker. Jesus, where the hell is my English notebook? I had to be at a reunion. What are you looking for? He asks. My English notebook. I can't find it and it's not in here or in my backpack. I say, you mean this notebook? I take my head out of my locker and see that Adam is pointing to the top part of the lockers, where my notebook lies. Oh right. I say, a bit embarrassed. Anyways, aren't pack reunions supposed to be at night or something like that? I say, closing my locker and turning to him. I gotta admit, he looked hot as hell. His hair had that I just woke up messy look and he still had a sleepy face. Absolutely hot. It's a different kind of meeting. He says and looks behind me. But that's a story for another time. He nods his head at someone behind me and I turn around and see Emma walking this way. I turn back to Adam. Go talk to her, he says. He gives me a kiss on the forehead and leaves. I turn around and Emma catches up to me. Hey. I say, her locker is away from mine, so I assume that she came to talk to me. Hi, she says. We both stay silent for a while, not sure what to say. Look, Riley, I'm not mad. She says, breaking the silence. I'm not happy that you're leaving, but you're moving on. She says and looks down at the ground. You know I'll still visit you, right? I mean, who else am I going to gossip with? She chuckled and gives me a smile. True, and you can't forget about our late-night marathons. She says, pointing her finger at me. Totally true. We both laugh and the bell rings, indicating that we have 5 minutes to go to our classes. I'll see you at lunch. Emma says. Yeah, I say, and we head towards our classes. I reach my English class and the teacher enters. Good morning, class. Everyone mutters a good morning and we open our books. Lunch came by and I took my usual seat. Emma and Ryan were already there. We said our hellos and started eating. Ryan's bruises were starting to get better. It wasn't a big improvement, but they looked better than they did yesterday. Is it okay if I sit here? A familiar voice asks. I look up and see that it's Adam. He's holding a tray of food and he's looking at Ryan. Ryan gives him a nod of approval and he sits down next to me. I know Adam's making an effort to get along with Emma and Ryan because he eats outside with Tyler. A small smile spread on my face as I think about that. He's doing this for me. My wolf gets happy too. Soon we all starts talking and laughing and there were no hard feelings on the table. The bell rang and we all went to our classes. My last class came by, which was chemistry. Chemistry was the class that I didn't have a partner. The teacher started the class and he was writing something on the board. I got bored and started drawing on my notebook when the door opened. I was caught in drawing that I didn't notice who it was. I see you transferred to this class, Mr. Parker. My head shot up to see Adam at the teacher's desk. I expect you to be a good student this year. You can take your seat next to Riley. Adam starts walking my way, and people were looking at me with a confused expression on her face. He sits down next to me and pulls out his notebook. What are you doing here? I ask in a hushed tone. He pulls his chair closer to me and leans in my ear. I came here to take chemistry, princess. He says in a hushed tone. His voice sends shivers down my spine. I feel myself blushing and I turn to face the board. Through the corner of my eye I see Adam smirking. I continue with my drawing. Adam leans into my ear again. Aren't you supposed to be paying attention? He says in that low husky voice. I try not to melt and answer him in the most calm way. I'm bored. I say and continue drawing. He puts a strand of hair behind my ear and leaves his hand there. I drop my pen, I literally drop it and look at him. He smiles at me and gets close to me. His face inches away from mine. Chapter 14. I bet I can think of something fun. He said as our noses brushed. My breathing got hitched as I could feel his minty breath on my lips. He was so close to kissing me. But then, Mr. Parker and Ms. Johnson, the teacher said. Adam moved back to his seat and I sat up quickly. Is there something you'd like to share with the class? The teacher said, crossing his arms. Everyone was looking at our way. No. No. I said, a bit embarrassed. That's what I thought. The teacher said and turned back to the board. Really? This is our last year. You're trying to get us in detention. I half shouted and half whispered to Adam. He's not going to put us in detention, he said with confidence. How are you so sure of that? I said. Because if he does, he's the one who's going to have to give us detention, and I don't think he's going to stay after school just for some stupid detention. Adam said, leaning back in his chair. Ms. Johnson and Mr. Parker, you get 1 hour of detention. The teacher said. What? You can't do that. I said, standing up from my chair. Oh yes I can, and you better watch your tone with me, young lady. He said, keeping calm. Riley, just sit down. Adam said, trying to calm me down. No, I'm not going to sit down. It's the second week of school. You can't give me detention. That's unfair. And as soon as those words left my mouth, I completely regret it. You get a 2-hour detention for disrespecting my decision. You want to go for another hour? He said, pointing a finger at me. I stood there quietly and sat down. That's what I thought, young lady, he said. I was beyond pissed. I've never gotten detention, and now I have been stuck here for 2 more hours because I wanted to kiss Adam. Great. Just great. The whole class, I didn't talk to Adam, even though he tried getting my attention a couple of times. When class ended, the teacher told us that we could get our books, but we were to come back to the classroom immediately. I can't believe you got us into detention, I said to Adam as I closed my locker. He didn't want to change his book, so he accompanied me. It was your fault too, he said, holding his hands up in surrender. If you weren't distracting me, we wouldn't be in detention right now, I said as we made our way to detention. To be fair, you didn't stop me, and you didn't stop yourself either, he said, smirking. I rolled my eyes and kept walking. Stupid mate. Him and his stupid eyes, with his stupid smile and his stupid way of making me stupid crazy about him. His stupid kisses and his stupid face. We enter the classrooms and we take our seats in the front. We take seats separate from us because we can't talk with each other. The teacher starts the clock and we just sit there bored, doing absolutely nothing. After what seems like an hour, I check the clock in the wall, and it's only been 15 minutes since we got here. I groaned and slouched in my seat. The teacher was already asleep in his chair. I rolled my eyes in annoyance and leaned my head on the desk. Well, I might as well try to get some sleep. Psst. Ignore it, Riley. PSSST. It's probably just a bird. PSSST. Something hit me in the head. I look up and see a piece of crumpled paper on the floor. Of course it was Adam. What? I mouthed. I wasn't going to get in any more trouble, and even though the teacher's asleep, he has super wolf hearing, which equals into me getting more trouble. Let's go, he mouthed, and so began our silent conversation. Are you crazy? Do you want us to get into more trouble? I say. Do you really want to be here for 2 hours? He asked. If it means not getting into more trouble, then yes, I say. He's not going to notice, he said. It's funny because that's what got into this mess in the first place. I ended the conversation there and turned to face the board. Every 5 minutes I would check the clock with some hope that time would go faster. After a while I gave up. In the corner of my eye, I saw Adam standing up from his seat and going over to the teacher's desk. My eyes widened when I saw that he was trying to get the keys. I got up from my seat and walked over to him as quietly as possible. I hold his arm and he looks at me and I shake my head. He smiles at me and mouths at me to change the hour on the clock. I gave him a confused look, and he handed me another piece of paper. Our 2 hours of detention were up. We didn't want to disturb you, so we left. Your keys were on the desk and we left them there too. Adam and Riley. By the time I finished reading, Adam already had the keys in his hand. This is a bad idea. But I went along with it anyway. I changed the clock and Adam had already opened the door. He left the keys on the desk and we got out. He closed the door ever so slowly and we made a run for it. We were running and laughing down the hall. We looked back for a second every once in a while to see if the teacher was behind us. We reached the doors and we opened them. We were still running and laughing when we reached Adam's car. I leaned on the side of the door, trying to catch my breath while Adam was in front of me trying to catch his breath too. That wasn't so bad now, was it? He said with a smile on his face. I rolled my eyes playfully. We're just lucky he fell asleep. I looked into his eyes and he looked into mine. Something about his eyes made me just bore into them, hypnotized by them. Each time his eyes would just become more amazing to look at. That spark in his eyes would light up more and more, and I found myself be happy by that. He started to lean in and he grabbed my face with both hands. I closed my eyes and his lips met mine. I felt those fireworks once again, and I wrapped my arms around his neck while he wrapped his around my waist. He pulled me closer to him and my hands were in his hair. Ever since I met him I felt like this whole new person. Everything got better with him and I'm so madly in love with him. The way he makes me feel is so indescribable that I'm not sure if it's a real feeling. I'm a better person when I'm around him. Happier, and that's what I love about him. He makes me so happy in ways that I can't understand. He was there for me when I broke down, he was there for me when I told him about my past, and he even made an effort to try again with Emma and Ryan. He's doing all of this for me and I can't imagine a life without him. Before he could deepen the kiss, I bit his bottom lip. He let out a low groan and I smiled, our foreheads still pressed together. "Calm down, Parker," I said in a low voice. "God, what are you doing to me, Riley?" He said in a low voice too. My smile got wider and I kissed him. It was a short kiss, but it still sent sparks throughout my body. We got inside the car and made our way to the pack house. It started to rain a little bit, which meant that it was going to be more chilly. Which also meant I get to snuggle up to Adam. I leaned my head against the window and closed my eyes. Chapter 15. Adam woke me up by shaking my shoulder slightly. I opened my eyes and we were already at the pack house. It wasn't raining anymore and it was pretty dark outside. We got out of the car and Adam told me to look up to the sky. It was going to be a full moon tonight. "What do you guys do on a full moon?" I asked. "Looking at the moon. We do a bonfire and just kind of catch up with each other." "I don't think your pack likes me," I say, looking down at the ground. "That's because they don't know you like I do," he says, lifting my chin up. I gave him a small smile and he returned it. "Hey lovebirds," a voice says. We look in the direction of the voice and see that it's Tyler walking over to us. "Hey Tyler," I say. "You guys are just in time. We're starting the bonfire now. Everyone's in the backyard," he says. "Cool. We'll walk with you then," Adam says, intertwining our fingers. "Dude, I can't believe you ditched me in lunch," Tyler says at Adam. "Dude, I was with my girlfriend making up with her friends," Adam says, and I smile, remembering what had happened a couple of hours ago. "It's true," I say, looking at Tyler. We reach the backyard and I see everyone with their mates, talking and drinking. Everyone's having fun. But when they see us, they all stop. And they're looking at me. Oh my God. That's Adam's mate. Someone screams in the crowd and suddenly the party's back on. But once they realize what that person said, they all bow down. Why are they bowing? I ask Adam. I was still new to this whole mate thing, so I didn't know a couple of stuff. "Because one day you'll be there, Luna," he whispers in my ear. I look at him and I see him smiling at me and I can't help but to blush a little bit. They all stand up again and start the party once again. A couple of girls come up to us and they start talking to me. They're pretty much my age, 18. One has blonde hair with blue eyes, the other one has brown hair with light brown eyes, and the other one has black hair with green eyes. They look pretty much alike. "OMG, Haley, you're right. She's so pretty," the blonde one says. "Told you so," Haley, I think, says. Adam chuckles. "Riley, this is Skylar," he says, pointing to the blonde one. "Emily," he says, pointing to brown one, "and that's Haley," he says, pointing to the one with black hair. "And this is Riley," he says, introducing me to them. They all say hi and I say hi back. "I'm gonna go with Tyler, okay?" Adam says to me. "Yeah, sure. Go have fun," I say and give him a smile. He gives my hand a small squeeze and plants a kiss on my forehead. I watch him leave with a smile on my face. I turn back to the girls and they're all squealing. "Oh my God, that was so cute," Skylar says, jumping up and down. "Quiet down, you're going to scare her away," Emily says, crossing her arms. Skylar and Haley were both screaming from excitement, and I could tell that Emily wasn't that girly. Skylar stuck out her tongue at her and Emily snorted. "I'm sorry, my sisters can be a bit annoying," Emily says, rolling her eyes. "We're not annoying," Skylar says at her. "It's just that we're really excited to meet Adam's mate. Everyone's been talking about you since day one and we've been dying to meet you," Haley says. "We've never met an alpha's Luna, so it's pretty awesome when you see that there's a Luna in town," Skylar said, explaining the rest. "Really?" I thought that nobody liked me here. I mean, when I got here everyone was giving me weird looks. I say, a bit embarrassed. Oh, don't worry about that. Emily says. Ever since Alice, nobody's ever since Adam with another girl. But ever since he found you, he's been happy ever since. Emily says, giving me a small smile. Yeah, I kind of notice it too. I say, and I look at Adam laughing with Tyler. For a moment he looks at me and I give him a smile and he returns it, and even though I'm not face to face with him, I know he has that spark in his eyes. Skylar, Emily, Haley and me get along really, really well. I'm actually kind of glad I met them. Back in my old pack it was just me and Emma, so it was kind of lonely. We kept talking and we sat around the bonfire in a log. Then Adam came and sat next to me. I got closer to him and leaned my head on his shoulder. He chuckled and wrapped an arm around me. Are you have fun? He says. Yeah, I am. We all get along pretty well and they're fun too. I say as I see the fire and the flame crackling up. It was a chilly night, but the bonfire made the night warmer. That's nice. He says, and he runs his hand up and down my arm. Yeah, I say in small voice and keep looking at bonfire. The full moon came and everyone gave a howl as if we were welcoming the full moon. We stayed there for a bit longer. Tyler sat down in the log next to me and the three of us started talking. Me and Tyler were becoming close as friends and I was glad because I want to be on good terms with him. Well guys, I'm gonna hit the bed. See you in the morning. Tyler yawned. Bye Tyler. Me and Adam say at the same time. At some point during the bonfire they were giving out blankets and Adam got one for us. We were still wrapped up in that blanket and everyone was starting to leave, but I didn't want to leave. Not yet. I had so much fun today and I didn't want it to end. I didn't see your dad here. I say. He's probably busy with meetings and all that. He says, and he tenses up a bit. I know he doesn't like to talk about his dad, so I don't push the conversation any further. After a while we both get pretty tired and decide to call it a night. Chapter 16. It was morning and we were currently getting ready for school. Today felt like it was going to be a good day. Yesterday was the full moon and everyone liked me. Somehow today just felt like it was going to be a good day. My wolf started to whimper and I couldn't understand why. Have you seen my shirt? Adam asked as he rummaged around the drawers in his closet. Which one? I asked as I put on my black high-top Converse. He turns around to face me and he has his hands on either side of his waist. It was then I noticed he was shirtless. He was showing his abs and I couldn't help but stare at them. I was sitting on the edge of the bed so my leg was mid-air and my hands were on my shoe. I was gonna lace it up. And I couldn't divert my eyes from his perfect body. Babe, I know I'm hot, but you gotta give me my shirt. He says, and I divert my gaze away from his amazing body. What? I stutter. You're wearing my shirt. Adam says, pointing at me. I stand up and I look down at my shirt, which is indeed his shirt. Oh, I didn't know you were gonna wear it today. He starts taking a step closer to me and I start taking a step back. My back hits the wall and Adam puts his hands on either side of the wall. My heart was beating at a fast rate, and all I could focus on was how close he was to me. This wasn't new to me, I mean he's done it a couple of times, but it feels as if it were the first time. He knew the effect he had on me and he loved it. He smiled at me and started to lean in. Our noses brushed and just when he was about to kiss me, I got a headache. Ow, I said, putting my hand on my temple. What's wrong? Adam backed away and looked at me with worry. Do you have painkillers? I asked him. I tried to close my eyes to try to take the pain away. We have some in the medicine cabinet, he said. In a second he was in front of me with 2 pills and a glass of water. I took the pills and gulped them down with some water. Adam put his hand on my forehead and put a strand of hair behind my ear. You don't have a fever, he says, his voice filled with worry. Are you feeling okay? He says, cupping my face with his hands. Yeah, it's probably because I'm hungry. We ate some breakfast and I started feeling a bit better. My wolf was still whimpering and I couldn't understand why. We got to school and Adam walked me to my locker. The headache never left, but it hurt less. Are you sure you're feeling okay? Adam asks me. 100 sure. I say and look at him. He's not convinced, but he doesn't push it any further. The bell rings and we walk our separate ways to our classes. By my second class the headache was getting stronger, but I tried my best to ignore it. Lunch came by and my head was literally exploding. But it gets worse, everything started to hurt. It was as if someone injected something in my body and everything just hurt. If a glass were to break, my ears would probably bleed from the pain. That's how much it hurts. I didn't even grab some food. I sat down on the table and lay my head down. Hey, did you see the full moon yesterday? It was so beautiful.
Emma skirped.
As she said that, my head got even worse. Riley, you don't look so good. Are you okay? Ryan asked. She's been like that all morning. Adam said as he sat down next to me. Did you send her to the pack doctor? Ryan asked, his voice filled with worry just like Adam's. She doesn't want to, but I gave her some painkillers in the morning and she said that it worked. Adam said, running his hand through my hair. Riley, you should go to the pack doctor. Emma said. I'm fine, I just need some sleep. I said, rubbing my temples. I'm gonna go wash my face with some water. I said and got up from my seat. As soon as I did that, I got dizzy. And everything went black. Adam's POV, Riley. The three of us screamed as Riley fell to the floor. We all rushed to the ground and I turned Riley around so she was lying on her back. Emma patted her face gently, trying to wake her up. Come on, Riley. Wake up, she said, her voice cracking up a bit. Ryan was splashing a bit of water on her face and I put her head on my lap. Everyone started to circle around us, offering to do something or just in shock of what was happening. Someone call a doctor. I screamed. Tyler came from the crowd and crouched down beside me. Tyler, I need you to call the pack doctor now, I told him, trying to keep calm. My heart rate was flying through the clouds. Riley fainted out of the blue and she hasn't been feeling well all morning and I don't know what's wrong with her. So I'm beyond worried right now. I'm on it, Tyler said as he dialed the number. In a few minutes the pack doctor came with 2 people behind him holding a stretcher. We all watched as they put Riley in the stretcher and walked away. Mr. Parker, do you wish to come with us? The pack doctor asked. I looked at Emma and Ryan. Emma was silently crying as Ryan wrapped his arms around her. You can go, make sure she's okay, Emma said, giving me a sad smile. She buried her face in Ryan's chest as she couldn't control her sobs anymore. I'll call you when she wakes up, I told Ryan, and he gave me his number. I went with the pack doctor and we made our way to the pack house. Chapter 17. I woke up to the sound of people talking. My eyes fluttered open and I found myself in a white room. I looked in the direction of the voices and I saw a nurse and a doctor talking. Where am I? I asked in a raspy voice. They both looked at me and the doctor smiled. Oh good. You're up, he said while walking over to me with a clipboard in his hand. Miriam, get her a glass of water and tell Mr. Parker that Ms. Johnson is awake, he ordered the nurse. He looked back at me and started looking at his clipboard. Johnson, do you know why you're here? He asked. I shook my head. Well, yesterday you fainted at the school's cafeteria. Mr. Parker informed me that you weren't feeling well. You had a headache yesterday, is that correct? It was then I realized I was in a hospital. I wasn't connected to any machines, which brought relief to me. I was just on the bed and in the same clothes. The nurse came and brought me some water, which I gulped down in a second. Yes, I said. I would be lying if I didn't say that I was scared. I didn't know if something was wrong with me or if I had to stay here for observation. The doctor started to check my pulse, check if I had a fever, and scribbled all of it down in the clipboard. Well, Ms. Johnson, it's nothing to be afraid. The headache was just a minor symptom of wanting heat, he said. Heat? What the hell is heat? What about all the pain that I felt throughout my body? I asked. That's also a minor symptom of wanting heat, he says. I'm sorry, what exactly is heat? I asked. He looked at me as if I was the most dumbest person on the world. He stayed like that for a moment before responding me. Heat, well, how can I explain this? He said as he tapped his chin with his finger. Heat is the final step of claiming. The first step is finding your mate. The second is when he marks you, which is when he pulls out his wolf teeth and bites your neck. And the final step is when you and your mate, well, mate, he says, a bit uncomfortable. It's then I realize me and Adam haven't actually done it. And apparently the only way for me to not feel this horrible pain is if me and Adam mate. Well, this is going to be an awkward conversation. Do you wish to for me talk about this with Mr. Parker? The doctor asked me, but before I could answer him, the door slammed open and 3 sets of eyes were looking at me with worried faces. Jesus, Riley, are you okay? Ryan asked as he rushed over to me. What happened to you? Emma asked while rushing over to me too. How is she? Adam asked the doctor. For a brief second he looked at me and back at Adam. She's fine, make sure she gets some rest and she'll be good as new, the doctor said before walking out. I'm so glad you're okay, Adam said as he gave me a kiss on the forehead. Emma stood on one side of the bed while Adam and Ryan stood on the other side. What did the doctor say? Asked Emma as she sat down beside me. He said that I just needed some rest and that I would feel better. Of course, Adam didn't believe me. I glanced at him and he was giving me a strange look while crossing his arms. Emma and Ryan believed it, which was what I was going for. I couldn't explain it to them because it would have been awkward. Yes, they are like family to me, but talking to them about how me and Adam have to mate is like a child asking her mom where do babies come from. Awkward. The nurse came inside with a wheelchair and walked over to me. The doctor says you're all good to go. You should be able to go to school tomorrow, she said and gave me a warm smile. Ryan helped me up even though I could stand on my own. We reached the hospital doors and Adam went to get the car. Call us if you need anything, okay? Emma said. I gave them a nod and we said our goodbyes. Once Adam brought the car, he helped me up and the nurse left with the wheelchair. He helped me up in the car and put on my seatbelt. In that moment his perfume filled my nose and I flew to cloud 9. Have I mentioned that he smells really good? Well, he does. He closed my door and went over to the driver's seat and off we go to the pack house. An uncomfortable silence filled the car. My fingers were fidgeting as I found them so interesting to look at. Adam cleared his throat and broke the silence. What exactly did the doctor say? Adam said in an uneasy voice. I sighed and looked up at the road. This was going to be a long ride. I don't really want to talk about it, I said in a low voice. Adam looked at me for a second with a shocked expression on his face. Are you being serious right now? He says, raising his voice just a little bit. Do you expect me to just let you be in pain and not do anything about it? He said. Before I could answer, he cut me off. What if it happens again? What if it's something serious and you just decided not to tell me? He said. I looked at him with an "Are you serious right now" look. God, Adam, it's not like I'm dying, I say in the same tone as him and turned around in my seat so I could look at him. Then why won't you tell me? Adam asked, raising his voice a bit more. Because I don't feel comfortable talking about it, I screamed, and as soon as I did I regretted it. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath and slouched down back in my seat. Fine, but don't come crying to me when the pain gets worse, Adam said in a stern voice. I felt a stab in my heart as he said those words. Jesus, Riley. He's your freaking mate and you're not even gonna tell him. Wow, worst mate ever. The rest of the ride was in silence. After 30 minutes we reached the pack house and it was already dark. Adam parked the car and turned off the engine. I was opening the door when he slammed his shut. I jumped a little bit since it took me a bit off guard. I've never seen this side of Adam and it wasn't pretty. Tears were starting to form in my eyes, but I blinked them away. Adam opened the door and rushed inside. Hey guys, what's dash? Nobody cares, Tyler, Adam said as he passed Tyler by. What's up with him? Tyler asked me. We got in a fight, I told him. Why don't you tell Tyler? Maybe then you would feel comfortable enough. Tell me, Adam screamed as he came back for a minute. Good luck with that, Tyler said as he gave me an apologetic look. I rolled my eyes at Adam and walked behind him. Jesus, Adam. Can you calm down for a freaking minute? You're blowing this way out of proportion, I screamed at him as we walked down the halls towards our room. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be a good mate, that's all, he screamed as he opened the door, and once I'm inside I slam it shut. It's not that I'm never going to tell you. I just don't think that now is the right time. My throat is starting to hurt from all this screaming, and I'm pretty sure that everyone in this house can hear us right now. Great. So I'm just supposed to wait until you can tell me. He turns around and walks over to me. That would be fantastic, I say and take a step closer to him. Why is it so important for you to know? Why can't you just wait until I figure out how to talk to you about it? I scream. Because it drives me crazy knowing that you're in pain, and that there's nothing I can do about it. It hurts me to watch you suffer. He took one final step close to me. Once he was finished, I slammed my lips into his and kissed with such passion that I didn't even know it was possible. He broke the kiss and was gonna say something, but I cut him off. Can you just shut the hell up? I said, and once again kiss him with such force. He pushed me up against the wall and put his hands on my waist, pulling me closer to him. I pull his shirt up and for a brief second we break the kiss. Once his shirt is off, our lips meet once again and I throw the shirt across the room. Adam sets my body on fire as he traces my body with his fingers. He finds the hem of my shirt and pulls it over my head. He lifts me up and I wrap my legs around his waist. As he puts me down on the bed, my back meets the softness of the sheets and he lays on top of me. I wrap my arms around his neck and our kisses become more slow. Adam breaks the kiss and he starts kissing my neck. He finds my sweet spot and starts leaving hickeys. I throw my head back to give him more access while my hands are in his hair. I tug slightly into his hair and he lets out a low moan. His hands roam around my body until he finds the waist of my jeans. He stops kissing me and unbuttons my jeans. He throws them across the room while I'm left in my underwear. And then he claimed me his. Chapter 18. When I woke up, I didn't feel that excruciating pain anymore, which brought relief to me. I turned around and I saw Adam lying on his stomach, his face buried in the pillow. The sheets stoked at his lower back, which left his bare back exposed. I smiled to myself as I remembered the events of last night. I glanced at the clock, and it was already 7:30 am. What? My eyes widen and I tried to untangle myself off the sheets. Unfortunately, I fail and fall to the floor, still tangled in the sheets. I sat up on the floor, blew a strand of hair away from my face in annoyance. Did you fall off the bed again? Adam said in his sleepy voice. Adam, get up. We're gonna be late for school. I said as I stood up and wrapped the blankets around my body. Adam practically jumps out of the bed and puts on some underwear. We both go to the bathroom and brush our teeth as fast as we can. I put on the first thing I find, which is some underwear, my black jeans, Adam's flannel shirt, and my Vans. I quickly brush my hair and put it into a ponytail. You ready to go? Adam yawned. I nodded and grabbed my backpack. He grabbed the keys in his backpack and we were out the door. Adam still had his sleepy face, which was extremely hot. I couldn't divert my eyes from him. Adam rubbed his eye as he took his eyes off the road for a second to look at me. So, I guess we now know what the doctor really told you, he said, smirking at me. My cheeks started to heat up and I know he noticed. Shut up, I say, trying so hard not to smile. He holds my hand and plants a kiss on the back of my hand. We reach the school in 10 minutes and we get out of the car. We start making our ways to the school doors and I notice that Adam still has bed hair. Wait, I say, and he turns around and motions to the car. Did you forget something? He asks. I give him a smile. No, silly. You have bed hair, I say as I giggle. I start fixing his hair and he takes a step back. Babe, it's part of the look, he says. You look like you've been hibernating for a year and finally woke up, I say and chuckle. Well, I definitely wasn't hibernating yesterday, he said, giving me a smirk. I stared at him in shock and playfully shoved him. What? He says, putting his hands up in surrender. I totally rocked your world, he says. I rolled my eyes and started walking. He grabs my arm and pulls me into his arms and kisses me. My hands are wrapped around his neck while his are on my hips. He starts smiling into the kiss and I find myself smiling too. I pull away and look into his eyes. Come on, we're gonna be late for class. He groans and I pull him by his hand. The bell rings, indicating that we have 5 minutes to get to class. Adam gives me one last kiss before running down the hall. I bite my lip and watch him leave. Then I make my way to my first class. By the time lunch came, I was tired. I didn't get much sleep last night and we all know why. I sit at our usual spot and stare off into space. Emma, Ryan and Adam were already there. And they were talking about something that I didn't know since I wasn't paying much attention. You feeling better? Emma asked, looking at me with a worried face. Huh? I asked. Adam clears his throat, and I remember telling Emma yesterday that I needed some sleep, and that I would be better. Yes, I'm feeling much better. Sleep was all I needed. I let out a nervous chuckle. I knew she didn't believe me, but she brushed it off. Chemistry came by and I was practically falling asleep on my seat. I would close my eyes for 5 minutes and then Adam would nudge my shoulder and I would jump a little bit, but then I'd be paying attention to next 10 seconds before falling asleep again. Miss Johnson. Oh great. Can you tell us which number is oxygen in the periodic table? The teacher asked. 8. I asked. The teacher raises his eyebrow before turning to the board. That's correct, he says, and I turn my head to face Adam. Like a boss, I whisper and throw my hands up in the air. He shakes his head while giving me smile. School is finally over and by the end of the week we'll be set free to enjoy our Christmas vacations. As we make our way to the car, Adam's phone starts to ring and he picks it up. What's up? Yeah, right now. I thought we agreed to meet up in a couple of weeks. He ran a hand through his hair and let out a long sigh. Okay, fine. I'm on my way right now, he says and hangs up. Everything okay? I ask. We get inside the car. Yeah, I just gotta go to a meeting, he says. It's not one of your dad's meetings, is it? I ask. He once told me that he would go to meetings, but they weren't your ordinary pack meetings. It was obviously another type of meeting. No, he says in a low voice. The Lightwood pack and our pack were in war during some time. They came to an agreement, but then they went to war again. So in order to keep peace, I meet up with some of the people from their pack and work out an agreement so that there's no war, he says. What kind of agreements? I ask. Curiosity got the best of me, but Adam didn't seem to mind. He owed me an explanation anyways. Basic stuff. Like they take some of our territory or we take some of theirs. Or if one of us messes something up, we take care of it. Things like that, nothing illegal, he says. I can't help but feel a bit scared. I mean, it seems like he has it under control, but what if he messes up? Or they mess big time? Does it mean war? A million questions go through my mind, but I push them away. Is the meeting now? I ask. He nods. I'm gonna drop you off at the pack house, okay? He says. What? No, I'm coming with you. I say. No, I can't bring you with me, he says in a serious tone. Why not? You said that you don't do anything illegal, so why can't you bring me? I ask. We reach the pack house and we get out of the car. Adam meets me at my side of the door and I lean back. Because if something happens to you, I won't be able to live with myself. I care about you so much in ways that I can't even explain. You make me a better me and I love the effect you have on me. Please don't be a dream, please don't be a dream. All I could do was just stare into his beautiful eyes as he said that. I never knew how strongly he felt about me. And now that he was saying all of this, I couldn't believe it. My heart was beating at a fast rate and the zoo was back in my stomach. I love you, Riley. I love you so much and I can't imagine my life without you. He slammed his lips into mine and kissed me with passion. He wrapped his arms around my waist and I wrapped mine around his neck, pulling him closer to me. I was afraid that if I broke off the kiss he wouldn't come back. I was afraid that maybe things wouldn't go so well. But in this moment right now I focused on kissing him back with the same force as him. He broke off the kiss and rested his forehead on mine. I love you too, I said and smiled. He smiled and leaned in again, this time kissing me more slowly. We pulled away so we could catch our breaths. Promise me you'll be careful, I whisper. Promise, he whispers. He gives me a kiss on the forehead and makes his way to the woods. He then changes into a wolf and makes a run for it. I didn't get to see his wolf very well, but I knew he had light gray fur. I entered the house and now all I had to do was wait. Chapter 19, Adam's POV. I turned into my wolf form and ran off into the woods. I reached the center of the woods, which was where the meetings took place, and changed back into my human form. Thank God I changed with my clothes on. I didn't like the idea of telling Riley about the meetings, but I knew that one day she had to know. These meetings might not be dangerous, but that doesn't mean that they know how to play fair. Tyler appeared by my side a few seconds later. You ready for this, man? He asks a bit uneasy and I nod my head. Riley stayed in her room just in case you were gonna ask. Tyler says. Thanks, man, I say and pat his back. A few moments later Jackson, Kevin and Jason appear. They're all part of the Lightwood pack and I don't like them one bit. They don't go to the same school that I do, which is a relief. I don't know what kind of stunts they pulled. They're all the same age. Jackson and Jason are brothers and Kevin is like their sidekick. Kevin basically takes the fall for everyone. Hello, boys, says Jackson. He's pretty much the oldest between the three of them. Jackson, I say. Jason and Kevin don't say anything, which means that they want to get straight to business. I hear there's a new pup in town. Jackson says. Me and Tyler look at each other with our brows furrowed. I glance at Kevin and Jason and I see that they're both smirking. What? Tyler asks. Oh, don't act dumb with us, Jackson says. You can't keep her away from us forever, he says, and I immediately realize that he's talking about Riley. My blood starts to boil and I feel my eyes turn black. And we want her, Jackson says. My hands turn into fists and it takes all my might not to punch him in the face. Over our dead body, she'll be yours, Tyler says, and I know he's as mad as I am. Tyler and Riley have gotten close, and I'm glad that they both get along really well. I know I can count on Tyler because he wouldn't let anything happen to Riley. It's such a shame though, keeping her locked up in that house of yours. Especially alone. He says, smirking at us. Her body looks delicious. He says, and before I could punch his stupid face, Tyler holds my arm and pulls me back. I look at him and he shakes his head. Jackson laughs and I turn my direction towards him. Say that again and I'll break your neck and end your life right here, right now. I say in a deadly tone. Oh, Parker. He says, imitating he's wiping a tear off the corner of his eye. You always crack me up. He says. What do you want, Jackson? You want the pack house, you want to be the strongest alpha. Is that what you want? Tyler asks. Jackson gives him a deadly glare, but Tyler knows better than to back down. I want your precious Riley. He says, looking at me. Stay away from her, Jackson. I say in a deadly tone. Don't worry, I'll take good care of her. He says and gives me a wink. I couldn't control myself anymore, so I went and punched him in the face. Jason and Kevin backed away. They knew better than to mess with me or Jackson. He fell to the floor but then composed himself and got up. He wiped the blood from his nose and I grabbed him by the shirt and pushed him against a tree. Don't you dare even be close to her or I swear I will kill you. You and your stupid, pathetic sidekicks. I say, and then I pushed him to the floor. Me and Tyler turned into our wolf forms and made our way back to the pack house. Once we made it to the pack house, we changed into our human forms, but we stayed outside. I was way too angry to go back inside and Tyler noticed. You know nothing's gonna happen to Riley, right? Tyler says, trying to calm me down. I don't say anything, still too angry to speak. I punch the tree and I see that both of my knuckles are bleeding a little bit. I lean my head on the tree and I try to calm down my breathing. Even my hands are shaking. We can't let her out of our sight, Tyler. If anything happens to her. I don't finish the sentence, but I know I don't need to. Tyler's practically my brother, so he understands what I'm talking about. And that's not going to happen. Not while me and you are here for her. He says and puts a hand on my shoulder. You're right. I say. I turn around, facing him, and I lean against the tree. Just calm down, okay? We'll talk about this with Riley and we'll figure something out. My head snaps up when he said that. Tyler, I can't lose her. I say. I know. Just go to your room and talk to her. Tyler says. Tyler's not the type of person that tells you that you should lie to your mate and keep stuff from her. He's more on the honest path than on the douchebag path. That's what I like about Tyler. He's never one to lie, and even if he does, he can't keep in for a day. I give him a nod and we both go inside the house. He goes to his way and I go to mine. I enter the room and I see Riley sleeping. She looks so adorable, I find myself smiling at her. I'm so lucky to have her. I've never met anyone like her. She makes me feel things that I didn't even know that I could feel. Ever since Alice, I never made the effort to find my mate. Not because I was heartbroken, but because I thought all the other girls would be just like her. A bitch. But then I met Riley and I've never been this happy in my life. Even when my dad gets me mad, she has a way of calming me down. God, I'm so madly in love with her. I make my way to the bathroom and wash the blood off my knuckles. I put on some antibiotic and I quietly go outside to the balcony. I go outside and I sit on the floor, leaning against the wall. A few minutes later I see a shadow and I look up to see Riley wrapped in a blanket looking down at me with a sleepy face. Adam. She says in a sleepy voice. Hey, how did you know I was here? I ask. Your scent. She yawned, giving me a sleepy smile. I return the smile and she sits down next to me. She wraps the blanket around me and puts her head on my shoulder. I rest my head on top of hers and she takes my hand in hers. How was the meeting? She asks, letting out another yawn. My body tenses, and when I don't say anything I know she knows that it didn't go well. Guess it's not basic things anymore, huh? She says in a low voice. I'm not gonna let anything happen to you, Riley. I say and kiss her head. She runs her thumb across my hand and we stay like that. In comfortable silence, just the two of us. Chapter 20. I woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside. My eyes fluttered open and rays of sunshine entered the room. I yawned and sat up. I stretched my arms out and flopped back down on the bed. Thank God it's Friday. The bed beside me was empty and I looked to see that Adam wasn't there. I got up and wrapped one of the sheets around my body. I regretted getting up once my feet touched the cold floor. I search everywhere across the room and I don't find Adam. I stand in the middle of the room with my hands in my hips. My eyes land on a little note in the nightstand. I go over and read what it says. Hey beautiful. School was canceled today so we have the day for us. I'll be waiting for you outside. Love you beautiful. P.S. Don't take any of my shirts, still love you. I let the note down and roll my eyes playfully. I went into the bathroom and took a bath. I decided to wash my hair too. Once I was out of the shower, I put on some underwear, some jeans and one of Adam's flannel shirt. Oh yeah, I'm a real rebel. I grabbed my black high-top Converse and put on a hoodie since it was a bit chilly in the room, and I figured it would be more cold outside. As for my hair, I blow-dried it for a bit and let it down. I left the room and I could see everyone looking at me with a smile on their face. I returned the smile and even interacted with someone. I rounded the corner and I saw Emily walking down the hallway. Emily! I shouted. She turned around and when she saw me she gave me a wide smile. I ran up to her and gave her a hug. Hey, I haven't seen you since the full moon. Emily says, breaking away from the hug. I know school has me a bit busy right now. I say, scratching the back of my head. Where are you headed? Emily asks. Oh, I'm meeting Adam outside. I say with a small smile. Ooh, Adam. She says in a mini sing-song voice. I roll my eyes playfully and she gives me a small laugh. Rumor has it he has something special planned for you. She said, nudging my shoulder and wiggling her eyebrows. What do you mean? I ask. Sorry, but I can't say I swore. She said, raising her hands in surrender. Oh, come on. You already told me part of it, might as well tell me the rest. I say, batting my eyelashes. No can do. She says, and she imitated zipping her lips and throwing away the key. Fine. I say. We go outside and the fresh air welcomes us. The wind was blowing a little bit, making the day a bit chilly, and I'm glad I put on my hoodie. I see Adam leaning on the car and I turn to Emily. That's my ride, I'll talk to you later, okay? I say. Yeah, have fun. She says and wiggles her eyebrows. She pulls me into a hug and then I go over to Adam. He sees me and a wide smile appears on his face. Morning, beautiful. Morning, Parker. He grabs my face in his hands and gives me a kiss. Do you know what day it is? He says, leaning his forehead against mine. I lean back and lean my head to the side. Friday. I ask in confusion. He stares at me for a minute and then I get it. Oh my God, it's Friday. I say. I take a step back and start jumping up and down. It's my birthday. I say and hug him. I can't believe I forgot my own birthday, like who does that? Literally nobody. He chuckles and wraps his arms around my waist. His hugs are literally like the best thing ever. His hugs are warm and they make me feel safe. I could hug him all day. He breaks the hug and pulls out a blue box from his pocket. Happy birthday, princess. He says and gives me the box. I give him a smile and open the box. It's a gold locket in shape of a heart. When I open it, I see a small picture of me and Adam. It was taken on the full moon when we were sitting down on the log with a blanket wrapped around us in front of the bonfire. My head was in Adam's shoulder, and he was looking down at me with a smile on his face. Our fingers were intertwined and everyone around us were sitting around the fire too. I remember that day. It was a good day. It was when I met Emily, Haley, and Skylar. It's so beautiful I can't stop looking at it. The gold makes it look elegant and simple, and it makes it so special. I look back at Adam with a smile on my face. Adam, it's beautiful. I can't believe you got me this. I say. Anything for you, princess. He says with a smile. I love it when he calls me that. Those cute little nicknames he gives me make me weak at the knees. I don't even know how he does it. It's like he has a girl dictionary and how to make her go to cloud 9 or something like that. Every time he calls me that, my heart flutters and the butterflies are back. But I don't mind at all. In fact, I would probably die happy just by looking at him. I give him the locket so he can put it around my neck. I pull my hair to side and Adam brings the locket around my neck. Once he puts it on, I turn around and on my tippy toes while wrapping my arms around his neck. Thank you, I love it so much. I say and give him a kiss. Come on, we're gonna out for some breakfast. He says, going over to the driver's side. Where we headed? I ask as I close the door. It's a family diner, it's really, really good. He says and turns on the engine. I gasp and turn around to face him. Do they make pancakes? I say and put my hands over my mouth. I haven't eaten pancakes in so long, plus I love pancakes. Yes, they do make pancakes. He laughs. As we make our way to the diner, I lean my head against the window and look outside. It's such a beautiful day, the sun is shining bright. The trees look more green than usual. Birds are chirping outside and it's chilly outside, so it's not exactly hot. I can practically hear the pancakes calling me too. I can't wait to get some pancakes. I'll put some whipped cream with some strawberries. I'll pour syrup all over it and I'll have some orange juice on the side. Just the thought of having a fluffy pancake with some delicious strawberries with a dollop of whipped cream and bathed in syrup makes my mouth water. But for now, I'll have to dream about pancakes until we get to the diner. Thank you for watching. As this video comes to an end, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for the exciting next chapter.